You know, my career, I've really been fortunate. You know, and I always talk about taking advantage of opportunities. Uh, I was a senior and I knew I had to start looking for a job, and I'd start looking at advertisements and stuff, and I hadn't really gotten to the stage of where I did any applications yet, just thinking about it while I was student teaching and so forth. And my college football coach got a call one day from a guy by the name of Max Mabey, who was a superintendent at Radcliffe. And they had a coach by the name of Keith Bunning, who was very, very successful at Radcliffe, and went on, took the job at Indianola High School. And he asked my college football coach, I know that Rick Wulkow's up there and a senior, do you think he would be interested in coaching football? Because I hadn't even made that determination yet, what sport I might coach. And so Coach called me over, and he told me, and I said, it won't hurt to go talk to him. Well, Max Mabey happened to be my high school superintendent when I was in high school in Lytton and had taken the job at Radcliffe. So I went down there, visited with him, and he told me one thing. He said, there's only one thing that you have to do as our football coach. Your kids have to be in better shape than any team we play this season. The rest of it's up to you. But that's what I'm telling you have to do. And so, man, did I condition people, you know. And I was very successful there. And then I got a call one day from the athletic director at Denison, and a guy by the name of Virgil Pithan. He was on the football staff at Buena Vista and was the dean of students and had taken the athletic director's job at Denison. And he had a football job open, and he called me and said, would you be interested in coming over to Denison and interviewing for our football job? I went and interviewed, and I got that job. I worked football camps with Jim Hirschberger, who later wasn't my college football coach, but later was the coach at BV, and a guy by the name of Beanie Cooper, who was the football coach at Sioux City Bishop Heelan High School. And Beanie got the head football job at the University of South Dakota. And Beanie called me and asked me if I had any interest in being a college football assistant coach. And so I went and talked to Beanie and spent some time with him and talked about the coaching at the college level. And lo and behold, I was an assistant coach at the University of South Dakota after I'd been at Denison for 5 years. College coaching is really a great thing, but I'm not sure it's a great thing for a guy with a young family. I didn't see my kids as much as I wanted to see my kids. I'd drop them off at school in the morning and wouldn't see them until I took them to school the next morning. There's a lot of time commitment in college football coaching, and I have a high degree of respect for those that make it all work out. But it just didn't seem to be something that I wanted to do with a real young family, because my oldest daughter was in first grade at the time, and so I made the decision that I wanted to go back to high school, and I did some moonlighting, got my master's degree while I was coaching at the University of South Dakota, and once I had my credentials to be a high school principal, I applied for a job at Paulina, went over and interviewed with the superintendent. He asked me if I'd stick around for lunch. I had another interview in the afternoon at a place called Floyd Valley of Alton. And I said, yeah, I'll stick around for lunch. And lo and behold, he called a board meeting after my interview, and at lunch he offered me a contract at Paulina, which I accepted, and I called over to Floyd Valley and told him I wasn't coming for the interview, and the superintendent wasn't very happy with me. But so that's how I got back into education in Iowa, and I stayed at Paulina for only 1 year. Bob Schmidt, who was a high school principal at Jefferson, he'd been named the superintendent to follow a guy by the name of Franklin Duska, who was a great, great educator, followed your father as superintendent at Jefferson. And Mr. Schmidt got the superintendency, and he called me. I'd known him from when I was coaching at Denison, because we were in the same conference, the Midwest Conference at the time. And it was quite a jump in size of school. the salary was quite a bit higher, and so I went to Jefferson and spent the rest of my days as a high school principal at Jefferson. And then in 1979 or early 1980, Bernie Sago stopped by my office one day and said, I'd like you to do some rules meetings for me. Would you be interested in doing that? And so I said, sure, I'll do basketball rules meetings. I'd love to try that. And lo and behold, a couple months later after I'd done that, he asked me to come over and talk about the job here at the Athletic Association. He says, I don't have a job open, but I'm going to create one. And Bernie hired me in the spring of 1980. I went to work at the Athletic Association July 1st, 1980, and I've been here ever since.